He opens his eyes to darkness and the smell of cold, damp wood. For a split second, memory flickers. The cheers of the great hall, firelight glinting on shattered glass, smoke curling in the air. Banners hang limply from broken rafters, flickering, torches casting angry shadows on walls scorched by wandfire. Then it vanishes. Now he is on hands and knees in a cramped crawl space far from that triumph. He realizes with a shock that he's back in the cupboard under the stairs at number 4 Privet Drive. How can this be? Moments ago, he was a hero standing victorious. Now he is 10 years old again, terrified and shivering in a corner that smells of mold and old newspapers. Dust and cold wood greet his cheek instead of warm torchlight. His heart hammers as cold understanding washes over him. He should be celebrating, but instead he is trapped in the very place where his worst nightmares began. He scrambles upright, arms pressing against the cramped wooden walls. The air is cold and stagnant, lit only by a thin beam of pale morning light slipping through a crack in the cupboard door. Dust motes swirl in the sliver of light. Outside, in the distance, a car engine idles and a dog barks lazily. Nothing like the crashing echoes of war he expects. No victory shouts, no cheers of friends. He cups his bleeding elbow with one hand and rubs it, wincing. His wand is gone, replaced by nothing but a child's pajamas. Panic flares. His scar pulses violently, throbbing in his head as if trying to remind him of something crucial. He curses under his breath. I won. I defeated him. He whispers to the silence, voice trembling. Harry fumbles with what he's wearing and finds only thin, worn pajamas, the kind Dudley might have outgrown. Panic knits in his chest as he realizes he's no wizard here. The memory of the final battle blazes behind his eyes. Speaking the words, the sound of Voldemort's scream, and the flash of green light as the Elder Wand rebounded his spell. He should have the Elder Wand in his hand now. Instead, he stands, empty-handed in a cupboard. He stumbles backward and nearly falls again, heart pounding. It can't be real, he mutters to himself. Voice small, he feels suddenly breathless, the room spinning. A cold sweat beads on his forehead. He swallows hard. It can't be real, he whispers again. He scrambles out of the cupboard into the dim hallway of Privet Drive. Standing upright, he realizes he has grown too tall for this childhood world. He bumps his head on a low ceiling beam and nearly staggers. Sweat beads on his forehead as panic grips him again. His palm presses against the peeling floral wallpaper, tracing its faded pattern as he tries to steady himself. Below, his bare feet sink slightly into the threadbare carpet. A carpet he hasn't seen in years, now covered in shadows. Staring down at his pajama-clad feet, Harry feels a surge of rage and confusion. Where is my wand? Where is everyone? He thinks. But only his own heartbeat answers. He shakes his head, trying to clear the fog of panic. I won! I defeated him! He cries out, voice echoing on the silent walls. Where is everyone? Why am I here? He shouts into the emptiness. He hears the hinges creak behind him. Bright kitchen light spills into the hallway as Aunt Petunia storms out of her bedroom. What in the world are you doing out of bed? She hisses. She is still wearing last night's floral nightgown, hair pinned back tight. Even her slippers have been kicked off in the rush. It's barely dawn. Harry tries to speak, still trembling. I had a dream, Aunt Petunia. Dream? Petunia's voice rises. She perches on the threshold of her bedroom, hands on her hips and lip curled. The kitchen falls silent except for the buzzing of a distant alarm clock and the faint hum of morning traffic outside. You screamed so loud I thought someone was trapped in that cupboard, she snaps. Dream or no dream, you're waking the house. Go back to bed. "No!" Harry blurts, anger and fear mixing. "I didn't just dream it. I defeated Voldemort. I won!" His voice cracks, and Petunia's eyes narrow in anger. "Voldemort! Not in this house, boy," she spits. "Stop your gibberish." "But it's real. He fell right there. I saw it happen." Harry tries, voice breaking with frustration. Uncle Vernon appears in the doorway, face flushed red and eyes wild. He huffs and snorts, a giant of a man, blocking the narrow hall. "Enough of this nonsense," he growls, voice like thunder. Without warning, he reaches out and yanks Harry by the arm. "I'll teach you a lesson about bedtime," Vernon snarls, dragging him toward the cupboard. "Go quiet or I'll give you something to cry about," Aunt Petunia snarls, following closely behind. "Back in the cupboard, now!" Harry's protests die in a sob as he's shoved inside. The door slams and locks with a click. He crouches, in the dark again, hands trembling, heart thumping painfully in his ears. Harry slumps down on the floor of the cupboard, back pressed against the wooden wall, arms drawn to his knees. The door is locked behind him with a heavy click. He is alone in darkness, save for the faint beam of light from the gap under the door. His chest heaves, each breath shallow. A cold silence surrounds him. "It was real," he mutters, voice quivering, eyes closed. Tears sting his cheeks as he leans his head back against the wall. Pain and exhaustion weigh on him. He realizes he's been using adrenaline to ignore the hunger clawing at his stomach since the battle. His throat feels parched. He remembers the last feast he had at Hogwarts: roasted potatoes, roast beef, treacle tart for dessert, and his mouth waters. But here there is only silence and hunger. He swallows hard on a dry throat. No one is here to verify what he saw. He thought the war would end with celebration, but instead it has ended with only the echo of his own voice. He takes a trembling hand and wipes his brow. Outside, in the distant morning, he can hear the first wary chirping of birds, oblivious to his fate. His mind wanders to Hogwarts, to Hermione's fierce loyalty, Ron's roaring laughter, even Dumbledore's gentle, knowing smile. A lump forms in his throat as he pictures their faces. They believed in him. Now he only has these memories. His heart aches. "What am I, if not Harry Potter?" he whispers into the darkness. He waits for some sign, but only the oppressive, quiet answers him. He stares into the corner of his cupboard, breathing ragged. Images of Hogwarts gleam in his mind. Endless corridors, flickering torches, the very place where he belonged. Here, at Privet Drive, he is nobody. He closes his eyes. This must be a nightmare. "It has to be," he whispers. One by one, he repeats the words Dumbledore once told him. "Do not pity the dead. Pity the living, and above all, those who live, without love." Maybe those words still hold true, even here. His hand drifts to his forehead, fingers pressing against the smooth lightning scar. Pain lances through him like a warning. "I'm Harry Potter," he says firmly, more to himself than to the empty room. He feels the truth of the words inside him. He is the boy who lived, Scar, and all, even if no one else remembers. Tears slips out as he whispers, "I am who I am." He waits for something to happen, a sign, a miracle. But the cupboard remains silent and still. Harry waits until sunrise. He hears the distant hum of Vernon's car engine sputtering as it pulls out of the driveway. He knows this is his chance. Slowly, he inches the cupboard door open and peeks out. All is quiet in the house. Carefully, Harry closes the cupboard door behind him and creeps down the hallway. He tiptoes to the front door and opens it an inch. A rush of cool morning air carries the scent of dew on grass into the entrance. He steps out into the pale dawn. The garden is lush and green in the early light. Birdsong drifts from beyond the hedges. He gently closes the front door behind him, leaving Privet Drive and its cruelty locked away. For the first time since waking, Harry Potter is truly on his own. He flags down a passing red double-decker bus and takes a seat by the window. The world outside rolls on with quiet normalcy. Children with backpacks laughing, neighbors walking dogs. The bus lurches into motion, taking him further from Privet Drive. Harry stares out at the familiar suburbs, giving way to busy city streets. After what feels like an eternity of winding roads, the bus finally pulls up to London's King's Cross station. Harry steps off into the bustling station concourse, heart thudding. He scans the huge sign that reads, King's Cross, recognizing it instantly from memory. Perhaps here he will find answers. London's foggy midday light filters through the glass roof of the station, illuminating its hustle and bustle. Harry scans the departure boards and train schedules. Nowhere does he see any mention of Hogwarts or a 934 platform. Swallowing nervously, he walks up to the information desk. "Excuse me," he says, voice low. "How do I get to the Hogwarts Express?" "Hogwarts Express?" the clerk repeats, eyebrows arching. "You're serious?" Harry King nods, throat dry. "Yes, from here to Hogwarts." The clerk chuckles awkwardly. "You young people with your movies and novels. There's no train to Hogwarts. This is a muggle station." "But I heard." Harry stammers. "I'm sorry," the clerk says, shrugging. "Perhaps you mean a train to York or Bath. Try those lines." Flushing hot with shame, Harry turns away. He knows what he walked through in his mind. Now he stands in a very ordinary world. No one here believes in magic anymore. Harry staggers onto a wooden bench on the concourse, mind reeling from the shock. He presses his palms to his temples, trying to still the spinning world. For a moment, everything is silent. And then he hears it. A whisper on the edge of hearing. "Harry?" He snaps his eyes open, looking around the empty concourse. The voice is Ron's, unmistakably Ron's, and it tugs at his heart. "It's me, Harry. Ron." The whisper continues softly, so gentle he thought it might be a trick of his mind. Beside that, Hermione's voice joins in a moment later. "Harry, we're with you. Always. You're not alone." Harry closes his eyes again, tears pricking at the corners of his eyes. He can see them. Ron's crooked grin and Hermione's kind, determined eyes, as vividly as if they were sitting next to him. Somewhere deep inside, their loyalty and love fill him with warmth. He whispers back, "I'm here. I'm okay," even though no one else hears. Their memory comforts him in the awful silence. Harry leaves King's Cross Station and steps out onto the wide street. The afternoon sun is warm on his face, contrasting with the cold emptiness in his chest. He strolls along the pavement of a busy London street, eyes unfocused. Everything seems so normal. Street vendors selling newspapers, cars honking in. The distance, children playing, the distant sound of a dog barking. For a moment, Harry feels like an outsider in this ordinary world. Not far ahead, he spots a quiet city park and is drawn in by the green shade of ancient oaks and sycamores. He walks in, leaves crunching beneath his feet, the bustle of London fading behind the trees. He finds an empty bench and sits down beneath a low-hanging branch. Dappled sunlight speckles his face through the branches overhead. The air smells of earth and early fallen leaves. An ordinary scent, nothing like the headmaster's office or the Forbidden Forest. He closes his eyes and takes a deep breath, trying to calm himself, but inside a storm still rages. Visions begin to float through Harry's mind unbidden. He sees the life he fought so hard to build. in one vivid memory. It's a month from now, in late summer, at an outdoor wedding. Harry stands nervously at an altar draped in white flowers, wearing fine robes, not these pajamas. And then Ginny appears, radiant in a simple white dress. Ron is beside Harry, grinning like a proud brother, and Hermione squeezes his hand supportively. They exchange vows under a golden sky, surrounded by friends who cheer. Another memory. He sits at his desk in a calm office at Hogwarts, teaching a classroom full of first years, eager to learn defense against the dark arts. Another. He is a father, carrying a sleeping son on his shoulders through crowded hallways at Hogwarts. All of it, the love, the family, the home, stretches out to him like it's just within reach. He can almost feel the warmth of sunlight and hear Ginny's laugh. Then, as quickly as it came, the fantasy shatters like glass. Harry's eyes fly open to the empty park bench, and the only sound is a solitary crow cawing in the distance. He feels the crushing weight of everything he's lost. The tears he's been holding back finally fall freely. "I should have had so much more," he whispers brokenly. He grips the bench's wooden slats as if trying to hold on to the dream that just slipped away. The park around him remains silent and still. Loneliness and regret swirl in his heart, even as the city beyond continues its busy routine, completely unaware of Harry's loss. Night falls as Harry wanders along the silent embankment of the Thames. He eventually stops on a deserted pedestrian bridge, looking down at the dark, slow-moving water below. His reflection ripples in the surface. It shows his familiar green eyes and the lightning bolt scar on his forehead. In that moment, for one heartbeat, he almost believes again. Lightning flashes in the distance, thunder rumbling softly overhead. The weather acts oddly familiar, like a reminder of home. "Is this real?" he whispers to his reflection, reaching out a hand. The cool night air lashes his face, carrying the faint sounds of a city that knows nothing of wizards or darkness. He stands on the bridge alone, caught between two worlds. Somewhere deep inside, the memory of that final sunlight at Hogwarts still burns like an ember. Hope and despair wrestle in his chest, each leaving its mark on his soul. The river continues to flow endlessly beneath him, unconcerned and eternal, just like time itself. Harry stands at the threshold of two worlds, on the bridge at dawn, as the sky begins to pale. Mist swirls over the river at his feet, making the Thames seem endless and inscrutable. In the distance, the first lights of morning illuminate the edges of tall buildings. He can hear church bells ringing somewhere in the city, a reminder of routine life. The line between dream and reality blurs again, truth slipping like sand through his fingers. Is this really the end of one story or the hidden beginning of another? He breathes, echoing his earlier question into the chill morning air. The river flows on beneath him, indifferent and eternal. Harry Potter is left with more questions than answers as dawn finally breaks over the city. As the first rays of sun strike the water, he wonders which light is real, the sun or the sparks of magic still glowing inside him. Harry stands there in the golden dawn light, feeling the weight of the night's fears press on his shoulders. He reminds himself of Dumbledore's parting words that day, that as long as hope remained, so did his purpose. In the waking world, nothing seems supernatural. The sun simply rises over London, bus drivers start their routes, and life goes on. Yet inside Harry, the spark of something extraordinary still flickers. He closes his eyes and imagines the taste of pumpkin pasties and the roar of the crowd at a Quidditch match. Just for a moment, reality and memory merge. He opens his eyes to the bridge and the river shining beneath him, and wonders how much of what he experienced is true. If none of the magic has truly vanished, what will he do now? He squares his shoulders. Harry Potter may have woken here under the stairs, but he is still Harry. And Harry is not one to give up. With that thought, he steps away from the river's edge, the morning light at his back, and moves forward into an uncertain new day. What do you think happened to Harry? Share your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button and subscribe for more mysterious tales and twists. Click the bell icon to get notified about new videos. Share this video with fellow Harry Potter fans so they can join the conversation, and let us know if you have ideas for alternate endings. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your support. Stay tuned for more cinematic adventures. And remember, the magic isn't over. It's just beginning. For more hidden truths and adventurous tales, don't miss our next journey into the unknown.